All right, guys, front tire. Oh, looks like we have our axle. We have 2 Allens right here as opposed to our 12 millimeters we've been using for most everything. Let's go ahead and take a look at our other side here. Similar thing. Had our bolts right here, our pinch bolts. And looks like this is the other side of the axle. Now this is disc brakes. I'm thinking we take this axle out and this whole tire just comes right out. Okay, these little Allens that are on here are a 6 millimeter. And they're pretty nice, so we're going to take them out. As always, try to keep your nuts and bolts organized so it makes it a little easier to go back together. Okay, so 4 of those. To be honest with you guys, I didn't look up this front here at all to see how to properly take it out. So you know if I'm doing this right. Just kind of making an assumption here that if I take this apart and pull the shaft out, the whole thing will come apart. Okay, I took the bolt out. I smacked it once or twice. The axle, you can see over here, slid right out. Now, the question is this whole thing can actually axle shaft. Okay, let's see. There is a spacer here. I'll put it on the axle shaft. So I make sure. There's another one here. You can see the way this one here has got like a little hat on the top. Make sure we get that stuff on there. Everything else looks tight. A lot easier than the rear tire. A lot. So it looks like we got some seals right there. If you're doing this and you guys happen to actually inspect your bike beforehand, take a look and see if you see any little bit of grease around your axle here. There was none on here, it was dry. But if there is, order up some axle seals. Look. And I don't know if this is going to help anyone with anything at all. But I have some numbers off the axle seal. And as always, try to protect your rims. So these are steelies. I'm not overly concerned about them, but I still want to protect them. Also pay attention to your disc rotor right here. If you wanted to take that off because you thought it was easier, just a couple Allens through there, and I bet you there are 6 like the other ones. Getting winded doing this, man. It's like 5:30 in the morning right now. It's my day off from work. I decided to come in and do this before anybody else showed up, hoping it would stay nice and quiet and we would be able to do most of this together without interruption from others. Get between those spokes and actually pull out this core. Okay, our core, our cap, our tools. Again, we're going to keep all that together. Let's take off our valve stem here, nice and gently. As always, the last thing you want is scratches all over your bike so it looks like you're a hack and don't know what you're doing. Even though we don't really know what we're doing right here. Just kind of going with it. So this front tire here, we got a rotational mark. Goes this way here. We even have a rotational mark on our rotor. Okay, let's take the nut off of our tube. Assuming there's a tube in this one here, which I didn't get a tube to replace this one either. Okay, let's just see. I can kind of push it down a little bit. Soapy water, guys. Soapy water. Okay. We want to be careful that we're not pinching our tube that's in here. Just ever so gently. We're gonna get 2 of these in around here. Come on. There we go. And make sure you're not pinching the tube, guys. They make things you can put on the rim so you don't scratch them up. And these are steel chrome rims. I'm not too worried about it. These tools are like 50 bucks. The link will be down below. Just buy a set. Things are awesome. You saw me break the bead earlier. Nothing to it. Granted, just a skinny little tire. Still, it was so stinking easy, man. Pull up the 1 bead here of the tire. Next, we're going to shove the valve stem inside the rim, and we're going to pull that out first. And we're going to take our tube out. And guys, buy a new tube for these things. I didn't. I should have. I'm not replacing them because I didn't buy any, and I'm doing this today. All right, tube. Toss off to the side area. We're not going to step on it. Now let's get the rest of this tire off. So, come to notice, if you put these, I don't know, somewhere between an eighth, about an eighth of a rotation away from each other, side of the rim, seems to work pretty good. Didn't quite pop up. There we go. Now, let's see if I can just soapy water, guys. Soapy water. That's, come on. Doesn't quite want to just pop off. These are pretty skinny on the spoon end as well. Makes it a lot easier to slide into areas. It's going to take a little bit of muscle doing this, a little bit of patience. If you're getting angry, can't stand it anymore, take a break. If you're a drinker, go get yourself a beer. Don't have too many or you're going to hate yourself when this doesn't work. Okay, tire off in the pile. Okay. So, here's our little spoke cover guy right here. And just a quick little visual inspection, make sure everything looks good. Slightest bit of rust, I'm not even going to worry about that. The rear one I cleaned up the rust, but this is practically nothing. Okay, let's grab the new tire. Alrighty, here we go. Hey, really wrap this thing up. Okay, I'll show you what we got here. We have, sure you can see it, a Shinko SR777 90-90-21 front tubeless tire. It's getting a tube, don't care, it's getting it. With the spokes on there, you want to put a tube in there just to make sure everything seals nicely. So this, like the rear tire, should have a rotational direction marked on it. Here we go. Not sure if you can really see that or not. Here. Rotation. Front. Cool. Okay. brake rotor goes in the right side of the bike. So we're gonna go like this rolling forward. This tire goes this way, right? Yes. So they're gonna get mounted like this. We're gonna go, that rotor holds it pretty sturdy. I don't know, we'll see. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna lube this up. We're gonna push one bead on, put the tube in there, get the stem in place, and not kind of on there, just hold it but not tighten it up. We're gonna pop the other bead on. Again, being very careful on this tube so we don't wreck it. Okay. Soapy water. It's your friend, guys. You never want to put it on dry. Better chance of tearing your rubber when you do that. Okay. Get our spoons. Okay. When you're doing this, if you're prying on stuff, think to yourself while you're doing it, if this slips and goes flying, where's it gonna go? Make sure it's not your face. Okay. One bead's on. Next, let's get our tube in there. Here's our hole for the valve stem. Down in there. Yeah, we're going to put our nut on the valve stem. We're not going to tighten it. It's just going to be on there enough to be on there so it doesn't fall out. Tuck our tube in there very gently. Now, some people like to put a little air in their tubes at this point here once it's in. So it kind of helps things. That tube, I can look around and it's actually laying in there pretty nice. Let's see. It's not twisted up or anything. Okay, now you pop this bead on there, and we have to do it carefully, guys, so we don't wreck the inner tube. Getting back to these tools, 50 bucks. Click the link below and just buy a set. Lifesaver. Okay. We're just gonna kind of. Again, you want to hold this part of the bead down further in the rim. It'll give you more play over here so you can pop it in place. And guys, watch out for that tube, man. Put a hole in that, it's going to suck. Especially for me, because this is how I got into my work today. I don't think many places around here is going to have a tube. Ta-da. Now, sure that tube feels about right. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up the nut. Put the valve stem in it this time. I'll put some air in it. The front tire is supposed to be 29 psi according to the sticker. 12 millimeter for the nut. It's like everything else on here. It's getting cold outside. I'm gonna go ahead and set it at 35. Now that's my bike. Check your own bike, see what it says, do some research, make up your own mind on what you want to do as far as your tire pressures. There's different reasons to do different things for your tire pressures. So I'm going to overinflate these because it's getting cold outside. As it gets cold out, your pressure decreases. And the math works out to about every 10 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature drops, your tire pressure will drop about 1 psi. 10 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 psi. Same for your cars. If you get that stupid little TPMS light that likes coming on in fall, it's because it's getting cold outside. All right, put some air on this thing. All right. Next, we're going to try and balance these tires. Some people use balancing beads that you just dump inside your tire. I'm not really sold on those things. Forgot to put my valve core in. Just like the rear tire. All right, yeah, balancing the tire, guys. Balancing beads, I see a lot of people use them. They're very happy with them. I'm not sold on the idea, so how about a tire balancer? It's a static balancer. Essentially, it just mounts on your bearings right here, holds the tire in place, give the tire a spin. A part of the tire that hangs down is the heaviest part of the tire. So you put a weight on the top. And you try to do that until it just randomly stops wherever it feels like, and then it's balanced. But we're gonna go over that. We're both the rear and the front tire. Clean up those white walls on this thing when we're all done. I think it's gonna look pretty good. Okay, so yeah, let's balance some tires.